Welcome back to the second Local Marketing Institute Q&A live with my fabulous co-host, Greg Gifford, and myself, Ben Fisher. How you doing, everybody? So if you want to reach out to Greg, you can reach him at Greg Gifford. He's also at Search Lab Digital, of course.
Hey, you got it right this time.
I know, right?
You always flub it.
I always flub it.
It's a new year. It's a new podcast.
Exactly. So, and you can reach me, Ben Fisher, steadydemand.com, or at The Social Dude on Twitter. Yes, we're still on Twitter, believe it or not. And you know what? Hey, that needs to be updated, Greg. Okay. It's 2.2 thousand members now. No, seriously, Greg updated it, obviously. So we're growing. Yay. Find us on Facebook, Local Marketing Institute Connect. Join 2.2 thousand members strong. Greg and myself included, a lot of the product experts as well, where we will do our best to answer your questions and keep you updated on the news while you are waiting for your next webinar. And as always, if you are on the go and you want to listen to us and have our soothing voices in your ears, then you can download us on Apple Podcasts, Google, Spotify, iHeartRadio. We're everywhere. That's just saying. And
now it is time for the news. And most excitingly, we actually have
a soundboard.
We do have a soundboard that works in the webinar now.
Woo! Yes, thank you. And welcome back, Greg. You've been gone for, geez, man, like a billion dino years.
I know, right? I looked back and I effectively only worked in the office for like 7 days the entire month of December. So yeah, it's nice to be back.
So in other words, you're saying that you were a slacker at home?
I wasn't home. I was gone. I was home for so we were closed. We always close the entire company from Christmas to New Year's. So I was home for that. But the first half of December, I was on the other side of the planet in Bali at a conference, which was, part of it was conference. The other week and a half was pleasure because hey, if I'm flying 26 hours, I'm going to stick around for a while. So yeah, I got to spend some time in Bali and that was awesome. And then first week back to this year, I was gone because we had our annual planning meeting for Search Lab, and I was in Florida for that. And actually, that Friday, I was at Disney World for our team building event.
Did you get? Wait, now were you in Disney in California or were you down in Florida?
And I did finally get to build a lightsaber because they have changed the rules, and now you while you're still supposed to do the reservations, they do allow you to get on a walk-up list. So I got to, it will be, by the next time, it'll be hanging, for those of you that are watching on video and not listening on podcast, it'll be hanging right there and lit up behind me. So I'll have a blue glow. It'll be awesome.
That's freaking amazing. You didn't do the whole Star Wars trip though, did you?
Like the Star Wars hotel?
Yeah.
No, heck no, that's too expensive, man. It's not too expensive because I'm totally gonna do it this year, but too expensive for us to do the whole, let's take everybody on the team to go to the Star Wars hotel as a work.
I'm just saying, I was talking to a good friend of mine the other day and he's like, yeah, we're going to the Star Wars hotel in February. I was like, really? How much is it? He's like, dude, they just reduced the price down to $1,200. So I'm just saying we should get a bunch of SEO people together and just do it.
I've talked to some people that have been and they said it's the most amazing experience ever. So yeah, I gotta do it.
Nice. Yes, that goes on the bucket list for the next couple of years. Okay, good enough. So all right. Well, welcome back, brother. Good to see you. Thanks for getting that soundboard rocking and rolling. I'm sure everybody in the audience is gonna love it.
I think it was Steven that actually mentioned that I should have a better soundboard solution back sometime in October, November. So Steven, I did it just for you.
Right on there. Oh, there you go, Steven. Thank you, dude. All right. Small bit of housekeeping. Please keep your questions out of the chats. Put your questions into the Q&A. We will do our best, and we usually get to them actually right at the end of the Q&A. Also, we're trying to, do about 15, 20 minutes at the end of, right prior to the end of the episode, where we can actually troubleshoot something for you live. So if you have Excuse me. So if you have any specific questions or problems that you would like to have maybe sussed out, go ahead, put those into the Q&A as well. And, just put, in front of it like problem or something like that. And that way we can sort it. But other than that, Greg, let's get rocking and rolling, my friend.
Because now it's actually time for the news.
All right, cool. Excellent. So in no particular order, Google has gone ahead and announced that they are going to do something which is called UGC content restrictions. Basically, what this means is that the content restrictions, they're classified as three separate things. One is called a short-term restriction. The other is, long-term restriction. And you can have a partial or a full restriction. Now, us as product experts, we've known about this for a very long time. Sometimes we even request these things happen. For instance, you're going to want a short-term restriction or a long-term restriction if you are under a constant review attack. This will block any new reviews from going up on your profile. And so that way it can A, settle down. Maybe whoever's targeting you will just move on, or B, so they can basically learn and take it and pull it apart and try to block it in the future. But the UGC is affecting basically anything from reviews to ratings to images to videos. So anything UGC related basically can have this block put on. Now, Google automatically puts these blocks on for many different reasons. If you need a block, again, review attacks is probably the big one, maybe photo attacks. Then you have to come to the GBP community, and Greg or I or any one of the other PEs can basically request what's called basically the same thing. It's a spam block, or a content restriction. So anyway, it's really useful. I'm glad that Google actually came out and said something about this publicly, because it's been kind of under the radar for a very long time. What about you, Greg? Any thoughts on that, man?
I don't know. I mean, it's for sure necessary. I was talking to, who was I don't know. I was talking to somebody earlier this week. Man, can't remember. My brain's fried. But yeah, I was talking to somebody earlier this week where they were having a review attack. It was a car dealer thing. What was it? Oh, somebody brought their car in for service to a car dealership, and they had a dashboard cam, and it's one of those that automatically starts recording both internal video and sound and external video whenever the ignition is turned on. And so they were servicing the car was on. Service techs didn't realize that it was recording, and they were talking shit about the owner of the car. So then the owner of the car got it back. They put it on TikTok. It went to 1 million views on TikTok within 5 hours. And they got hit with over 1,000 negative reviews within an hour after it hit 1 million. And so they had to go to Google and ask for the UGC block, because they were just getting spammed by bad reviews, because they were like, don't go here. They talk shit about you, blah, 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 blah. So yeah,
Yep.
Crazy stuff.
I just thought about something I totally forgot to mention about this UGC block before we move on, or content restrictions, or whatever we want to call it. Basically, if you suspect that you are under this content restriction, and by suspect, I mean you know it, okay? Not 15 people tried to leave me a review. They can see it. I can't. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about somebody tries to leave a review and they just can't. And 15 other people behind them just can't. Test it out. Open up a Sock Puppet account. See if you can leave yourself a review. Do that first. If you are indeed under a spam block or content restriction, then you can come to the community and we can request an eval. At the very minimum, we can tell you when your spam block is going to be lifted. So I get that request all the time. And I think it's important. Reviews are important, right? Yep. So yeah, there is a way to at least find out, but you have to know you're under the block to do that. So, all right. Next piece of news, Apple Business Connect. So here is the link to the actual Apple Business Connect press release. And then I want to also give a shout out to Near Media, Mike Blumenthal. He wrote a good article basically about why is the Apple Business Center basically, or Connect, so important to us as marketers and local SEOs. And so Apple Business Connect, ABC, maybe taking a little bit of dig at Alphabet there, I'm just saying. Apple Business Connect is really easy to use. It's actually easy to set up a storefront or to claim a storefront on Apple Maps. You can add managers, and basically it's actually got almost complete feature parity to the old Google Business Profile Manager. So it's even got insights like driving directions, for instance. That's in there too. So service area-based businesses are not allowed. And as a marketer, we all love being able to help do recurring things for our clients. In the case of Apple Business Connect, there is no recurring type of component. It is literally a set it and forget it thing at the moment. But in the future, I'm sure they're going to probably develop things. Who knows? Maybe like posts, right?
Yeah.
All right. Anything on that, brother?
No, it's exciting that it's an easy setup for anyone out there to do. And it's not like, oh, hey, you have to figure out where to send stuff or connect APIs. It's just go in, set your stuff up. You're good to go. It's awesome.
Yep. Okay, cool. And yeah, actually that needs to be said. They do have an API. So don't know if it's available to small agencies yet, though. All right. Next thing is,
we forgot. We should have asked Barry if Apple Business Connect was new or not. And what does Barry have to say?
Yeah.
Yep, it's new.
Oh, Barry's wrong. Apple Business Connect actually came out last year.
Well, right, but it's not been around for a long time.
That is true. And actually, this iteration of it is totally freaking brand new.
Plus, Barry doesn't really know much about local anyway. So,
and Steven says, it depends.
That would be, where's that one? Yeah, it depends.
There we go. All right. So the next piece of news that we have is just every year, Bright Local does the State of Local, and it is going to be myself, Joy Hawkins, and the wonderful Amanda Jordan from Rickety Roo. So just make sure if you want to come in, join us Wednesday, the 25th. And we're just going to have a lot of fun. We always do every single year. This year, we are going to be actually incorporating AI. We're going to be talking a little bit about that. Everybody's talking about it, so we're going to talk about it. Why not? We will be talking about it because it is important. It's an important discussion to have, and one in which Greg and I are going to try and get into at the end of this webinar as well. All right. Oh my gosh, we're almost through the news. Oh God. All right.
Well, besides that, we do have PubCon Austin, where Ben and I will both be in Austin. So if anyone else will be in Austin, we can hang out. We might potentially figure out a way to do a couple of quick little interviews to share on the next episode after PubCon. And then we'll also be in Dallas on the 26th of April for Local U.
That is absolutely correct. Yes.
So hopefully we will see some, if not most of you at one of those two places.
Oh, come on, Trisha. You can do both. We believe in you. Really, we do. And Lewis, excellent. We'll see you there. Yes, I'm excited personally for PubCon. Greg, I don't know about you, man, but I've been doing PubCon since, 2007?
And it's weird to not have gone for years and years at this point, and it's going to be like crazy party to have everybody get back together for the first time in years.
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, we did Florida. We had, I think, 150 some odd people show up for Florida.
Was it that many?
Yeah, there was 250 booked, actually. So 50% bailed. Okay, cool. You were at that site. Yep. I remember you were in Miami. And but yeah, so unfortunately, and then of course, we all egged on Brett, and we were like, come on, Brett, let's do another one. Let's do one in Vegas. Come on. I know we can't get the conference center. 30 people showed up. It was bad.
Yeah, but that wasn't really a PubCon conference. That was a let's all get together and hang out in Vegas thing. So
yeah, exactly. But it was kind of an in lieu of type of thing, like let's see what happens. But unfortunately, COVID was like, totally raging at this time. So,
yeah,
nobody wanted to go anywhere. So all I can say is, just from knowing Brett for so many freaking years, is that good on Brett to do this, good on him to take the risk. And, because I'm sorry, events are still a risk these days, right? They just are. I know, but
I don't think so.
Okay, well, I mean, you were just balling, right? That's how many people showed up. No,
I mean, it was big for what they expected, but like, I mean, I've been to conferences that have 3,000 or 4,000 people last year. So
nice.
I think a lot of conferences they're not back to full capacity, but I think a lot of conferences are back, and I don't think attendees are scared to go as much. Some people are still cautious, but I don't think it's like conferences are 50% of what they were anymore. I mean, they're back up there.
And I think SMX is still virtual, if I remember correctly.
That's if I had tinfoil, I'd put on my tinfoil hat. I'm not sure what's going on with SMX because they're sticking with virtual only for the entire year, and maybe they've got some metrics around it that make sense. But I know as a speaker, I'm not doing virtual events anymore. It's not worth the time. It's not worth the prep time. A lot of speakers feel the same way. You can't engage with the audience. I don't speak. I mean, I do speak at some conferences just to be there to help, like the Bali thing, but hey, I got a cool trip out of it. But most of the conferences that I do, I'm there for business. Like I'm at that conference to get business. You're not going to get business off virtual events.
Yeah. Well, hardly. Exactly.
Yeah. Like Max just said, you can't sell from the stage when you're online.
Well, not to mention your it's going to sound weird, but your stage presence is not felt.
Oh yeah. Like
you're behind slides.
Most of y'all have seen me live. You can't do that thing virtually. And then the most important bit is I don't go to conferences to learn from presentations. I go to conferences to learn from the speakers at networking and at dinner and at drinks and hanging out in the hotel. And you don't get that virtually. You show up for your 30 minutes and then that's it. There is no networking. There is no real world connection. And that's the most important part of all the conferences.
Exactly. And I don't know about you. I mean, I'm looking forward to Local U. I want to sit down and I want to play another game, with joy and beat everybody's butts.
The only reason you beat everybody is because you suck and you passed for the entire game.
Oh, so I had
let's
to.
Not act like you're an awesome board game player.
Strategy, man. That was
it's not strategy. It's because you had both of your legs bitten off and your arm bitten off, so you literally would die if anybody breathed on you. So you sat in the back. So we're talking about the board game Nemesis, if any of you are board game fans.
Hey, my GIMP engineer was doing good. I'm just saying.
I mean, you're like the only one that won, aren't you?
I was. Yeah, I was literally at the end. It was like that much.
So we literally sat down and played a board game at Local U in Denver. And for probably 2.5 hours, Ben just passed every turn and sat in the back engine room of the ship because he got attacked by a bunch of aliens right at the beginning of the game. And so literally he did nothing the whole time. And if you haven't ever heard of the game, it's a really cool game. It's basically the plot of the movie Aliens. But each player has their own personal objective that they have to satisfy to win the game. Right. And my objective was player number 2 had to die and Ben was player number 2. And I thought I was great because right off the bat, he got both his legs bitten off and his arm bitten off. And it was like if he got breathed on again, he was going to die. But then he just sat in the back the whole time. And so it sucked.
Yeah, and then I discovered, of course, that Greg's mission was to kill me, and I'm just like, no, I'm just going to kind of chill back here, dude. Yeah, I'll sabotage an engine or something like that. I'll mess up your win.
I'll get you back next time we play.
That sounds like a deal.
We should probably get back to the agenda.
Really? Okay, I guess so.
Maybe. I mean, maybe people want to sit here and turn this into the Ben and Greg Talk Board Games podcast, but I think probably they want to hear about local SEO stuff.
More than likely. All right. So kind of piece, not maybe the last news. Anyway, Google Business Profile insights on posts are toast. They're gone, including product posts, by the way. Basically, yeah, that's really it in a nutshell. Is there is what's called a deprecation schedule when it comes to features for Google Business Profiles. And if anybody wants a link to that, there you go. You can always check it out. But they're gone from the API. They are gone completely from the interface. So if you enjoyed them, which I don't know why you would, because they were always wrong. They're gone. So Yay to Google, because this actually messes up everybody who pulls from the API, like us, and kills our reporting. And unfortunately, you might want to talk to your administrator, because it seems like there's something that's going on that's not intended. You actually have to rewrite your code and also reset the API to get it to go to what's called the new endpoint. And in doing that, well, guess what? Google, in their infinite wisdom, set your queries from the API calls to 0. And you have to apply to get them back, which takes about 3 weeks. Exactly. It's not happening to everybody, but if it is happening to you, please do let me know, because I have an open case with Google about this. So that's my call to action. Did you ever use Post Insights, Greg?
Not really. I mean, like you said, they weren't really accurate. So what's the point? And if you start looking at things like that, it becomes like Facebook likes. It's a vanity metric that doesn't really matter or not. Like, no.
Yeah, exactly. So, as well you should, Trisha. We'll be talking about that here soon too. So, Greg, you have something to tell us about some new peeps getting recognition in the industry.
Let me pop the link over in chat for anyone that didn't hear about it, but just I think end of last week, Bright Local released their annual list of rising stars in local SEO. And so I will just read through the list for anyone who hasn't seen it yet. But we've got Hannah Borchik, Emily Brady, Celeste Gonzalez, Crystal Horton, Harmony Huskinson, Liz Linder, Liz Rule, Stefan Sombrock, Rachel Tinker, and Amy Toman. So really good list of some solid local SEOs that maybe a lot of people haven't heard of yet. Pretty much all of us have heard of them because they're all awesome. But, oh, sorry. I just shared that to the host and not to the whole chat.
It's okay.
But yeah, go check that post out. It's really cool. It's also interesting not just to see the list of people, but to see the quotes of the people that nominated them and why they were nominated. So it's really a cool little read.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I was, I think both of us actually were involved in nominating people to this list. They said we can only nominate 2 people. That was it, So, but they actually put who nominated who on here as well.
Which I thought was kind of a nice touch, because then, otherwise you're like, cool, I got nominated, but it's nice to A, see who nominated you, and B, see what those people said about you.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's also cool that it's not a bunch of white dudes on the list, which seems to still be a problem in some areas of the digital marketing world.
This is actually, it's dominated by ladies. Actually, it is.
Yep.
Stefan is the only guy here. So I don't know about you, but I voted for Amy and Crystal. Who'd you vote for?
I did Liz.
Oh, okay, cool. All right.
So I get mentioned at the very top of the article because,
of course.
So you had a cool post come out recently about LSAs. Why don't we chat about that a little bit before we get into the questions?
Sounds good. So I kind of teased about this on the last LMI episode when Joy was with us. And so basically it's called, I'm sorry, it was Trisha. But she stood in for you last time, by the way, Greg.
I heard that. Last minute. Thanks for handling things for me while I was playing at Disney.
Oh, we love having Trisha on. She's awesome. So we talked a little bit about this, but basically it's called Local Service Ads Arbitrage. The reason why I call it arbitrage is, and this is on Search Engine Land, also has been featured in the International Door Association magazine, as well as the Door and Access magazine, which is the manufacturers for garage door industry. But what was discovered is that companies are scamming local service ads just like they do with Google business profiles now. So, but they've taken it a whole nother level, and they've exposed some weaknesses in the LSA. And that is that a bad actor can go ahead and have a 10% business ownership in an entity, okay, and there'll only be one employee, okay? So you have maybe two owners, and they are the sole employee. What does this mean? This means that when you start up a new LSA, you can actually get the background check transferred to a new profile, okay? And if you think about it, you could just go ahead and set up 4 or 5 of these all at the same time. And what they'll do is they'll get leads in that'll come in, cost them $25, and they'll turn around and sell those leads for say $75 to $175 to a contractor. And then they'll call back whoever booked it and says, sorry, we're going to have to cancel, but somebody will be coming out to see you. This is an unknown name, unknown entity, unknown person who can then go ahead and proceed to, say, rip off the consumer at this point, or do other nefarious things like in the garage door industry, clone your garage door opener, for instance. These are all real things that actually happen. My prediction in this piece finally is that I think this is kind of the same crew that was around back in the days doing stuff with the personal, basically creating fake Google business profiles. Yeah, cloning is real. I have stories. But also, I think it's the same crew. Right now, it's currently in Florida, Texas, California, New York, and I think that's about it right now, maybe Chicago. So it's the big metros, but that follows the same pattern that we saw in the garage door spam and the personal injury spam. And what ends up happening from there is it'll stay there for 6 months, and then all of a sudden it's going to explode into other categories. So yeah. So I think LSA has a lot that they need to do, basically, to protect merchants and protect consumers, and get rid of something that they specifically state they do not allow. Anyway, that's what that is. It's PSA. Report spam. Any thoughts on that, brother?
No, I mean, you covered it all. It was your post, so you know all the stuff to say there.
I guess so. All right, well, let's get into the Q&A.
Let's do it.
First one, my friend, is for you. This one comes from Nick. He said, thanks in advance for your time. Smiley face. I have had GMB or Google Business Profile since 2011. Always worked on it within Google's guidelines. However, there are now 3 businesses in particular that are adding a second and a third GMB for the same business. Not to mention reviews going up at 30 at a time. Laugh out loud. Totally. I'm seeing 2 of the same company be included in the 3-pack, not including sponsored, and they're putting gold star emojis in the beginning of their business name. Is this allowed, Greg?
No, it is totally not allowed. And yes, Nick, there is something you can do about it. You use the redressal form. So go use the redressal form, report those cheating mofos, and hopefully they'll get taken down. Obviously that's not always the case, but as we always say, and we probably ought to get a soundbite for this, go to the forum. Definitely post in the forum about it as well. But the redressal form should probably work when it's really blatant cases like this. Hopefully, cross fingers.
Yeah. I mean, there are some, it depends, that goes into this. Just saying.
It depends.
And so the it depends thing is that, the second and third GBPs might actually be legitimate. They're probably not, but without doing research, you don't know that. Currently, it's just unfair competition so far is what it looks like. Yes, getting 30 reviews at the same time definitely is a big red flag. What you need to look at with these is the address showing? That's number 1. Is it a home if the address is showing? That's number 2. Is it a service area-based business? Do they have multiple DBA entries, right? Because that could actually be very important. Multiple BBB entries, things like that. So just make sure that, you gather the proper information before submitting the redressal form. And know that Google is really horrible at looking at those redressals. They're not short-staffed. If it ain't gone in 2 weeks, it ain't going to be gone. If you have a lot of proof and they don't get removed after 2 weeks, you can come to the community. You can bring us your case ID. You cannot post any information about the entity. We just want the case ID. And then we'll send it to Google for a quality review and we'll see what they say. Google is the final word though, and they're not going to tell you why or why not. So, but that is your options. And the only way to really take care of it. All right.
There we go. Next question is for you, my friend.
Alrighty.
And this one comes from Jim Froling. And he asked about a hack for changing a photo on GBP. He says that you were mentioned in a post on the local search forum that there is a hack for changing the profile photo on a GBP. Has something to do with a Google website. He has a call scheduled at 10:30 today. Well, I'm guessing today, maybe. I don't know what the
1
date
minute,
is, but
1
10:30
minute late.
with the Google Ads rep. So forgive him if, it must be today because he says, forgive me if I'm not present when you get to this in the Q&A.
All right. Well, Jim, I know we missed you by 1 minute, so we totally do forgive you. Please forgive us for not actually us asking this first. So the short answer is that yes, there is a trick. It only works like 30% of the time. Like it's very Google-esque, I guess you could say. And what you just do is you go to the Google Business Profile website that you have created. You change the cover photo to another image, and it will use that image as your logo. That is correct, Trisha, and I'll get to that ask that in the Q&A, and I'll get to that. So basically that really is your trick. I'm going to give a bonus trick though. Okay. This is unrelated, but it is photos. Currently, there's a problem that people are getting. They're getting a server error whenever they upload an image via the in-search experience. And so the hack on this is that if you go to business.google.com/locations, you'll get your list or your business. And there are 3 icons right there alongside your business profile. One is for posts, one is for editing your information, the other one is for photos. If you click on this, you'll be able to upload photos with no problem whatsoever. There is a third trick, and it is going to be a self-pimp out thing, and that is gonna just have to say it. We do images that go through the API are not suffering this problem. So if you go to steadydemand.com/local pics, you can sign up for an account and then just upload it actually through your mobile phone through a text. And it'll be up on there in 7 seconds. It's like costs $1, by the way, to $1 per month in a sense to do this. So, but that's one way, another way around that. All right. What about you, brother? Anything? That's a pretty skinny subject.
Yeah, pretty easy.
All right. So let's talk about call tracking, man. We have a question from Luan. Hey, Luan. So a question is, Greg, is call tracking good to use? It doesn't seem accurate. And they're using forwarding number that always changes. I've heard bad things about it. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Call tracking is great, but don't use Google's call tracking. Use a legitimate call tracking provider. For sure, you don't want to use Google's call tracking. I actually don't even know of anyone that's using it right now because it's just not great. There's a million call tracking providers out there that are legitimate call tracking providers. Definitely use those.
Do you have a list of those million?
I don't. We use CallRail. I love CallRail. I think CallRail is great. CallRail.
Yeah, CallRail, exactly. Call tracking metrics. Those are the ones that people talk about the most. The problem is that this selection for this call tracking is on by default. There's a checkbox on it when you go through verification process to keep it on. And it's like, no, never keep this thing on. For those of you who don't know, just some history on it, Google had bought a company called CallJoy. I think, remember, that was about 2 years ago, I think.
Something like that, maybe.
Yeah. And that failed miserably. They took that technology and they built their own call tracking solution. Okay. And what ended up happening is on launch, we ended up getting a flood of posts to the community from people saying, somebody's trying to call me and it's going to my competitor, right? Guess what? Call tracking was enabled. So yes, it's inaccurate. It will siphon your leads off to a competitor because they're using virtual phone numbers. It's just not good to have whatsoever. Perfect, dude. Perfect.
So the next question is for you. And this one is from Myrna. I wonder if Myrna is here today. Myrna is here today. So the question is about verifying your GBP using Search Console. Myrna has a client who can't use the postcard verification because there is no mailbox at the business location. It is a farm. He has a Search Console account. I see that you can use this method to verify your account, but it isn't clear how to do so.
All right. This is actually a really, really good question, Myrna, and is not asked often enough. So, number one, first to get rid of a myth, you cannot verify through Search Console. That's first thing. Doing what I'm about to teach you how to do will increase your chances for better verification options and a possible instant verification. Okay, so that's two things that it does. It's all based on trust. Okay, so Google's taking a look at one huge thing, which is the trust of your account when it comes to verification. Example, steady demand. We create profiles for our clients all the time. And every once in a while, we roll the dice and we get instant verification just because our accounts are trusted. Okay. So it's cool, but it only happens maybe 20% of the time. So to the trick, it's actually pretty easy. Again, it is account level based. So let's just say you have an account and that account is google@yourdomain.com. And this is the primary owner of your Google business profile. Before you start the verification process, you want to go into Google Search Console, go in there and basically either if you have an existing profile for your website, then you're going to replace the primary email, the admin email with that account. So google@yourdomain.com. If you do not have a profile, make one and verify your website into Google Search Console. You should do this anyway. And use that email address as the primary owner or the primary admin. Then you go to your Google business profile and start the setup. Make sure you do it within that account. And now you are using an email address which is associated with a verified profile for your website with the same email address. And again, this will roll the chance of getting like a text verification, a call verification. In your case, what you really want is you want those two, or you want video verification, or it'll just give you instant verification. Anyway, that's the steps, that's the process, and that's your pros. There are really no cons to this, by the way.
Boom.
That's it.
So we've got 20 minutes left.
Really? Geez.
So we could talk about ChatGPT and really kind of get into it, or we could go to live questions. Do you want to throw it at the chat? Everybody in chat right now, put ChatGPT or Q&A, and we'll kind of wait for a second, see what everybody says, and we'll let you guys decide the direction.
Perfect.
Even both. More towards Q&A. More people jump in, or we're doing Q&A. If you want chat, you gotta let us know. Chat, both. Oh, even. Still even, both. You can't say both. You gotta pick one. Q&A. We're still even. We got to let's say, Q&A. Almost done.
One more.
Oh, chat wins.
Chat wins. All right.
So,
you asked for it, people. I'm just saying.
we skipped it. Oh, we forgot the UTM tracking question, but that's okay.
Oh yeah.
We'll save it for next time.
Okay. All right. Well done, by the way, Greg. That soundboard's freaking awesome, dude.
Yeah, it's great.
Every bit worth the investment.
Now I'm like going crazy, like literally. So I have all the Adobe Creative Suite for all the stuff that we do. And I found out that you can download like 10 gigs worth of free sound effects from Adobe. So I downloaded all those the other day, and I'm going to have to like go through them at nights and weekends to find more fun stuff to use. So it's going to be like sound crazy next time around. But this question comes from Nico, who's not here today, but we'll still go with it anyway because everybody wants to hear about it. And Nico asked, what part do you think ChatGPT will play in creating content for local businesses? Do you think Google is able to detect it? Would you recommend using it? And if so, in what capacity?
All right. So I'll be direct. Try not to use ChatGPT too much when it comes to your Google business profile. We have an active, we meaning the PEs, have an active discussion actually with Google about this right now. They have come forward and stated pretty much that any kind of AI-driven content or created content will be detected and also rejected. Okay. I have found this to not be true so far. However, this is Google. They're going to get good at this. And they're going to probably end up figuring out how to figure out its AI content and, of course, kill it. So that being said, what can you do? Sure. So can you write a business description with it? Why not? Can you write a Google post with it? Sure. Why not? Can you use it to write a review response? I've done it and published them, actually, just as a test. I'm not suggesting it. You can even use it to write a review on another business. Done that too as a test, and it functions just fine, didn't get filtered. Now, how can you increase your chances of not getting filtered? You can go ahead and subscribe to originality.ai. It allows you to go ahead and whatever's been generated by ChatGPT, you can go ahead and post into that, and it will give you basically an AI score as well as a plagiarism score. Okay, because ChatGPT is very good at plagiarizing content. It's extremely good at it. So I would do that. Get your scores down as much as possible. One hint that I've heard from somebody in our Facebook group that Brett Tepke has for chat and AI is that you can basically put a lot of commas into the content and it'll skip straight ahead through the AI content score. So that's the short of it. I want to encourage everybody, though, to really be careful in how you're using this. It's new. It's exciting. Everybody's talking about it. Hell, at PubCon, we're encouraged to put it into our decks, right? So, but really tread carefully and think about the user experience at the end of the day. With these fake reviews that I wrote, well, not fake review, but this review that I wrote for a personal injury lawyer just to see how it would look. It looked great. It came out perfect the first time. I asked it to do it again. It's shot back something which was pretty much changed by maybe 5%. So it was pretty much the same kind of copy. So just be really careful and craft your prompts and understand that whatever you generate may get filtered. And so if your posts start getting rejected, if you get suspended for a content, you'll know why, basically. What do you think, my friend?
Well, I also think Nico's not just asking about your business profile. I think he's talking about creating content in general for local businesses. You hit the nail on the head when you said, think about the user experience. Sure, sometimes it might be decent enough, but sometimes it's really obvious. You don't even have to run it through the originality.ai to tell that it's not written by someone that knows what they're talking about. Whether it's AI or not, it's clearly like not perfectly correct grammar or sentence structure or odd things that are in there. And like, okay, cool. Could you generate a 1,000-word blog post and then go edit it? Sure. Why? Like, at some point, sure, we're going to be able to have AI or machine learning write content for us, and it's going to be great. Right now, we're not really there yet. And I don't know if I follow a lot of stuff about this. There's been all kinds of stuff where college professors and university professors are catching people that are writing their term papers with ChatGPT, and it's really easy for them to find it. And, they have all these different things that can now detect it, like the 2 links that I shared. Like, why? Like, don't take the shortcuts. Just put in the work. Like, unless you're trying to do something at scale where you've got to write a blog post, or you're writing a landing page for a business that has 1,000 locations and you want to have it write 1,000 iterations of that page, sure, you could do it, but it's going to suck. It's not going to work. Just put in the work and do it the right way, guys. Like,
yeah. I just saw this guy on Facebook. He's like, I'm writing a program. It's releasing next week. It'll create 5,000 blog posts for you in 5 minutes. Here's the other side of the coin. Okay. And that is, remember I said plagiarism, right? Well, actually, let me back up and give a positive note real quick. So Maximillo wrote a quick statement here. I wrote a book for lead generation and made writing the book much easier. Hell yeah, Max. That is correct. What I think ChatGPT, PT, God, I want to say GBD, you know what I mean? Right. But anyway, but ChatGPT, right? Exactly. So with this, it's basically, it's great for idea generation. Okay. And great for shortcuts. So for instance, people are using it to make Excel formulas, right?
And that's great. That's a really cool use for it.
I wrote, I just wanted to see, it's like when I went out to it, I was like, all right, so I was like, write me the book, the chapters for a book about local SEO, include subcategories and subheadings. And it spat out 25 great topics in order with subcategories. And then I asked it to expand on that. And it wrote descriptions for every single category, for every single chapter, right? And it, and after reading through it, it needed to be massaged like about that much. So another thing is I think that, from the content side is that you really need to have editors. You need to have very good editors. And this is going to bring us to the next point, plagiarism. Okay. ChatGPT is a generative language based on a large data set. It's a database. If you go in and I found this out actually in a Twitter thread that I was talking to Lily Ray, right? She was like, and she's like, well, it can't cite sources. So I was like, oh no, it's got to be able to cite sources. So I did a check on what is EAT. And I said, cite sources. ChatGPT is very, very specific in its prompt. If you just say, what is EAT? It's going to tell you what EAT is based on its data, right? But the cite sources is also going to just give you sources, random ones, about EAT. And that's what it did in this case. In this case, it brought up an article from Neil Patel, and it brought up an article from it said Rand Fishkin had written an article about EAT on Moz. Rand never wrote an article on Moz about EAT, by the way. So there's a lot of issues. And even if you do ask it to cite sources, it's still, you've got to go check those sources to make sure it did. And then you've got to go check the text to see if it lifted it directly from the article. So ChatGPT is not good about these. It's not a good steward at these types of things. So be careful, I guess, is the big thing. Just exactly. I agree. Prompt expertise is going to actually be a skill that people have to either grow or buy, And anyway, I could keep on going about this. What do you think, brother?
No, I mean, that's the thing is use it as an assist for certain things like ideation. I love the, how do I write an Excel formula for this? Now, I'm a major Excel nerd. Like my Excel stuff's like everybody in the company like freaks out because I write formulas that are so complex. I have to break them into multiple cells and then use a formula to refer to the cells. Like I can basically just do straight up coding in Excel. Like I do nutty stuff, but the general public doesn't have that level of knowledge. And this is a great solution to be like, I need a Excel formula that nests 5 different if statements to do this thing. Cool. It spits it right out and it's awesome. But to be like, hey, I need a 1,000-word blog post about Chapter 7 bankruptcy, that's not going to be the solution for you.
Well, so I put a link in here actually a little bit earlier, and it's a website that I've built, and it's basically called Business Profile. I'm going to go to it really quick. Check this out, Greg. Businessprofile.guide. I should have had this up. So if you go to businessprofile.guide, what you're going to find is you're going to see basically a website which is created all in nothing but AI. So what I wanted to see is okay, so what happens unmolested if I just put up content from that's generated by ChatGPT and also using Midjourney for image generation. And the first one I started, the first one's actually kind of a really cool one, but basically I said, how can a small pizza company dominate local search, right? And I said, okay, and so I started there, and I asked it to write it as like a human. It's a 1,000-word blog post, and then I said, add some humor. Okay, it did exactly that, and it's actually a really good article. So it's funny. And it comes up, I think, with a AI score of 30% is what it came up with. So it needs a little bit of tweaking, right? Absolutely. But then I continued off from there, and they're like, how do you optimize a Google business profile? So I have an entire article that it spit out on that. How a plumber can use Google business profiles. And the last one I did was, how can AI help a local dentist with local SEO? And I actually asked it a series of questions like, what kind of facts are good for a local dentist? How about a great way to get reviews? How can I beat my competition? What about blog topics? What's popular? Any ideas on how I can get high quality links? Write a plan for how to implement all of these things. Write an email at Bob's Dentist. This is a proposal we're doing for them. So, and that's how you can daisy chain prompts together, by the way, because it remembers backwards of 3,000 words. And the interesting thing is if you read this content, it's actually really not that hard. It's not bad. I don't know if I would send that email off, but like the topics it came up with are good. The FAQs are good. So anyway, cautionary tale, of course, like Greg and I are saying, is just watch out for it.
Yep.
All right. And I put in some links to Aleasolis, as well as, I forget his name, Joe Hall, I think it is. So, but they have some good stuff like on technical SEO and just local and just SEO in general about, ideas on how to use ChatGPT. Andrew Shotland also over at Local SEO Guide, shout out. He did an article on that as well. And with that, I think we are, I don't know. What else you got to say, brother?
No, I mean, we've covered it in depth, at length. We got 5 minutes left if we want to do a lightning round of some live questions.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So that was a question for you. So I guess.
All right, you're up, dude. You ready?
Sure.
Here we go. We need a lightning round sound. Just saying.
I do have a big list of thunder sounds to go through, so we can have some yeah.
Yeah, excellent. All right. So anyone else having issues? This is from Anne. Anyone else having issues with clients not getting postcards? I've never had these issues before. No one seems to be getting them. It's frustrating.
I mean, when we've had clients that get the postcard option, they've all gotten them. We don't work with tons of clients that have to do new verifications, but postcards have always been kind of hit or miss, and maybe they come and maybe they don't, or maybe they come 3 months later and then it's too late because the code has already expired. But I mean, they're doing the video stuff now because they know that the postcards aren't always reliable, especially in other parts of the world where mail delivery is not great. The good news is, again, you can go to the forum if you've requested a postcard a couple of times and you're not getting it, go there. Also, if you've requested a postcard a couple of times and not gotten it, you could just connect with support and say, hey, look, we've requested the postcard multiple times. It's never arrived. And usually you can get manual verification that way.
Yep. And not to mention, I mean, video verification is becoming a lot more prevalent.
Yeah,
actually now. So postcards.
I mean, I'm not Google, but I would guess they're just going to ditch the postcards because if you think about it, and this is not because we're in a recession, this is just in general. If you think about it, how much money is Google spending yearly on sending postcards all over the world as a verification process? Regardless of is it a pain in the ass for the person that gets verified? And does it screw over businesses when they have to wait 3 months because the postcards don't show up? Google doesn't care at all about that. What Google does care about is the bottom line. And even at bulk rate postage, they've got to be spending ridiculous amounts of money printing and mailing those postcards out. So while they might package it as, well, video is more convenient and easier and faster, what it really is now that pretty much everybody has the ability to do that with a mobile phone, Google's looking at, geez, we're going to save ridiculous amounts of money by not sending out postcards.
Yeah. I like video personally. It's harder to really scam.
Yeah.
And fake video, so.
Yep.
All right. So let's see.
Now you're up with a question from Doug about where do we go? What's the link to get the block removed if you've got the review block going?
Yep. So you're just going to go into the community basically, and that's where you'll go ahead. You'll post your information about your business and say, something to the effect of, well, here's the research that I've done. I haven't been able to get reviews for like 3 months now, and then we'll go ahead and we can go ahead and escalate it out. Okay. So, all right. Trisha asked a question. Forgot about this last week. Okay. If you don't have a business site in your profile, I can't add one if it wasn't done prior to Google's switch. Have you found out when and if this option is coming back? You want to go for this one, or shall I?
I actually don't know the answer to this one.
I do. Okay. So if you do go to edit profile and you click on the website, you may have the option to create the website. If it's not there, you have to reach out to support. It should be there, but it's like kind of part of their bugs, so the only way to get it really is to contact support. And they can flip a switch.
Boom.
All right. Okay. So Cordell has a question for you. What about third-party agencies trying to verify listings on the new Apple Business Connect? I haven't seen an option to verify any listing yet.
I haven't logged into it yet, so I have no idea on that one.
Yeah, same here. I don't know it either. Sorry, Cordell. As far as I know, agencies have no problem verifying listings. So they have a pretty strict verification process, I think. But it's like, they need storefront photos and utility bills and things like that and business licenses. So I think an agency can do it. I think an agency can claim, actually, because there is a way to claim business profiles and then give ownership over to somebody else. So pretty sure it can be done, but more on that, I guess, later.
Next time, because we're all out of time for this episode. Hopefully everyone enjoyed the excellent new sound effects. Oh, it didn't work.
Oh,
come on.
Well, you keep doing that because I got some housekeeping to do. All right, so let's see. Okay, almost done with my housekeeping, by the way. All right, so there we go. Got that.
So thanks everybody for showing up today. We hope you enjoyed today's episode and the new sound effects that everyone can actually hear instead of the whole janky thing I was doing with my iPad trying to hold it up to the microphone. If anyone is curious how to do this because you do your own broadcast, plus this works in Zoom, this works in Slack. I've been having so much fun this week with stuff at work. If you want to know how to do it, pop me a tweet and I'll send you a DM with all the info on how to do it. It's super sweet.
Sweet.
And don't forget, Put your questions in for next week. We did what he was just doing with housekeeping was downloading all the Q&As that we got this time that we didn't get to, so we can add those to the list. But if you have new questions, make sure you submit them. And next time, we won't go off on our welcome back, Greg, and game board or board game rant at the beginning. So we will have time at the end to do the live triage. So if you have something that you'd like us to take a look at live in 2 weeks on the next episode, submit that as well.
All right. See you all, everybody. Have a fantastic weekend.